moving to me because 40 years ago I was working in Mississippi, involved with bringing people up who were graduating from universities and bringing them up to get degrees in the North at Rutgers, where I was working. And if anyone would have told me that 40 years later, one of those kinds of people would be taking over and leading us to a revolution in the way in which we think about participating in our country as is the case. And I'm just very excited about it. I'm glad I lived long enough to see that, to be part of that. And it's just terrific to be involved in the various things I've been involved in the last 2 years. It's like coming back again and doing it again, different kinds of things. No one's after me, no police are following me. There isn't a tank outside my apartment as there was in Jackson for a while. And people weren't being killed. But it's just amazing to be part of it. Very grateful.
And what do you think is possible if we properly harness the energy of young people?
Well, I really think that's there's several unique things about this whole movement, and one of them is that it is organized by a youthful spirit of not everyone is that young, but it's finding the people who still have hope and who have energy. And sometimes it seems a little bit too much like a fraternity party to me, but that's okay. You know, the question is, what do we do? And how do we support this thing? Because the tasks are very large, and I don't know whether the American people is ready for the kinds of sacrifices that are really going to have to be made. Everybody's saying about it. You know, one of the problems with the last administration is that they conducted a war without asking a sacrifice for anybody but the folks who were in the volunteer army or in the reserve or National Guard. And the rest of us, well, and they didn't ask us for increased taxes to defend us. They created this whole fear and this whole image, and we've gotten to be, as a nation, kind of lazy, kind of self-satisfied, too materialistic. And so all of those things are being, I hope, re-examined in this. And now the question is, can we take this youthful type movement and get people prepared for raising taxes, for changing the way in which we live, for making big changes before the planet, falls apart. And just the things to do in this country alone. I lived 15 years in Europe before I came back here in 2002. And our colleagues and friends over there are just worried to death because of what has happened to this country. Now, they're all excited. They're all happy with the way the election's gone and so on. But while we have tremendously creative government structures and people, some of the ways in which we do things are very vulnerable to collapse, as we're seeing now. So that their financial system is more traditional bank-based, not financial services-based. And so a lot of what we've been living on in the last 15 or 20 years is kind of made out of nothing. And therefore that can easily fall like a house of cards. And so we have a big job of harnessing and all the catchwords of green and all of these other things. They have to be translated into real sacrifice, where we give up some of what we've been doing so that our children and our children's children, instead of having a crushing debt, will have the promise of a new kind of way of living. And so there will be a tremendous amount asked of this present generation, always at various ages. And I think it's really important that we step up and then defend the government that says, we're going to have to get more revenue. We're going to have to change the way in which we do things. So there's a lot of things that I'm excited about.
Thank you.